Hello everyone, I am JVN Dr. Muhammad Miraj Alam, Assistant Professor of Economics, Jyoti Vidyapith Women's University, Jaipur. In this session of video, I will discuss the remaining part of economic reform and its impact on Indian economy. In the previous part of this video, I have discussed about economic reform and uh, the part of economic reform was the liberalization and its impact on Indian economy. Now I will discuss in this part of this video the overall impact of economic reform on the Indian economy. Okay, as we all need, as we all know that economic reforms were introduced by the government of India in July 1991. The reform process has been completed more than 3 decades, almost 3 decades, not more than three. It is almost completed 3 decades. It would therefore be both interesting and instructive to make an overall assessment of the reform process so as to ascertain whether the country is moving in the right direction or not. The or to terminate the reform process altogether. Right. There were some goals of economic reform. In this video, I will discuss about these goals and try to understand that that this goal has been or the mentioned goal has been achieved or not. Okay, the goals were of economic reform. The objective of the economic reform process were to promote a faster rate of uh, economic growth. The first and foremost goal was to promote a faster rate of economic growth. Okay, and the second goal was to enlarge employment potential, leading to full employment, to reduce the incidence of poverty, and fourth one was third one was fourth one was to promote equity, leading to better deal for the poor and the less well-off section of the society. And fifth one was reduction of regional disparities, that is the gap between the rich and the poor. And the last one was improving the BOP position. Right. Now each of the objective will discuss one by one in this section of video. Okay. So let's understand the economic growth. That economic reform does affect the economic growth. I have already discussed a lot about this in the previous video on the globalization or privatization. You might have some understanding about it, but in this section, it is especially we'll see the impact of economic reform in India on these following grounds, on these following points, right? Uh, okay, come to the first economic growth or GDP growth. The annual growth rate in the post-reform decade, that is 1991 to 2000, was the same as that the pre-reform decade. Okay, it was the same as it was before the pre-reform, that is 1981 to 1990s. That was 5.6% per annum growth rate was recorded. After the teething troubles of the first 2 years, globalization starts in the process in July 1991, and there were some overhaul period observed in the Indian economy because there were some rules, regulations have been changes. There were some conditions shift from one's favor and one's against. That's why there were some 2 or 3 overhaul period. After the overhaul period, the growth rate during 1993 and 1994 and 1997-98 has averaged to more than 7% per annum. That was the case of economic growth. After the 1991-92, the growth momentum has been sustained. Reforms have no doubt improved the growth potential of the economy. This is clear from the fact that the growth rate of GDP during 5 year period from 2001 to 56 was 7.7% per annum. This was only possible because of the economic reforms and globalization take place in the economy. It increased to almost 8.9% in the next year, 2006-7. And it's further, if you look into the 2005 to 2010, you will find that the average rate of economic growth was the almost 8%. So you can say that on the economic growth front, globalization helped a lot to the Indian economy. Okay, now come to the next part of the this topic, that is the poverty elevation, right? As we all know that poverty is a much debated topic since long time in India, because there are a huge number of population which still lives below in the poverty line. So that's why it is debated, because if there are a large number of people who are living uh, uh, in the below poverty line, the politics of the country are also revolving and discussing the in and around the poverty. During every 5 year of the state and the central election, you will find that there is a huge discussion and the promises made by the politicians uh, to announce soap for the poor, to announce houses for the poor. This is because only there is a large number of poor people in the country, or the poor people can decide the whom to be in the power in the next 5 years, and whom will be the going to rule the country in the next 5 years. That's why there are a lot of politics involved in and around the poverty. It is a, poverty like a cancer for the Indian economy. Like it is a, why I called it a cancer, because poverty is always needs some greater attention, which requires huge amount of uh, fund to lift out the poor people from the uh, poverty. So Indian government usually in the starting period were focused on the poverty elevation. There were plannings. There were one of the 5 year planning were fully concentrated on the poverty elevation. That was the fifth 5 year plan, in which slogan was given by the Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, "Garibi Hatao." Hatao slogan was very popular at that time, but the poverty is still not living in India as soon as in the future as well, because there were huge number of policy loopholes which are pointed out by and highlighted by the several economists or several policy makers. The loopholes were so much in the policy process that they cannot even change the lives of the poor people. But in the few years, there are some income transfers, there are some published economic uh, process or economic policies which might help the poor of the countries. Okay, so let's see the what data tells us about the poverty in India and the poverty elimination programs related issues in the country. Okay, the overall poverty ratio declined from 36%, which was in 1993-94, to 27.5% in 2004-5, a decline of almost 8.5% during the 11-year period, right? An annual average reduction of poverty during this period was 0.74%. However, the rate of poverty reduction during 1973, 1974, and 1987-88 was from 54.9% to 38.9%, a reduction of 14 percentage point during the 14-year period. So poverty reduction was at the rate of 1% per annum, which was higher than that during the post-reform period. Even though GDP growth rate during the post-reform was much higher than that in the pre-reform period. The number of persons below poverty line was 300 million in 2004-5 compared to 320 million in 1993-94. This means that the absolute number of poor declined very slowly during the post-reform period. So the trickle-down effect of the growth process did not benefit the poor as I observe or suggested by many top bureaucrats or academician policy makers and think tank group. The trickle down effect of the uh, economic reform should be reached to the poor and poor and should be reached at the society where one of the lowest section of people are living. As we all know that poor people are vulnerable. India is a composite culture in which there are so many castes, so many economic groups, and so many social groups are living together. One of the social groups is the SC, STs, and minorities. All those are the poor people. Most of them are poor. So the policy should be poor oriented, or you can say it should be targeted the poor in a very good manner, so that they can lift out from the trap of poverty. Otherwise we cannot develop ourselves as compared to other nations of the world. If India is a still, I think, more than 30% people are poor in India. They can only afford a meal of 2 or 3 times, but they don't have a better education, health, and other basic necessities of life which are required to be a sound and a healthy person in India. In this way, you can say that globalization did not prove a good for the for the particularly poor people in India. However, an expert committee headed by late Professor Suresh Tandulkar suggested moving away from the taking the calories intake as defining parameters for poverty line, to make a more comprehensive method of using per capita expenditure data on basic needs such as food, clothing, and housing, and the services such as the health and the education. Right. Uh, this was the methodology which was adopted by Professor Tandulkar to measure the poverty in India. Right. Using the criteria for measuring poverty, even from the data collected by NSSO for the year 2004 and 5, it was estimated that for all India, 37.2% of population live in the below poverty line. Further, on the basis of a special NSSO survey conducted in 2011-12, and using Tendulkar Committee methodology, it has been estimated by the Planning Commission that in 2011-12, 21.9% of India's population lived below the poverty line. That is a decline by 15.3 percent points in the poverty in and the committee uh, that in 2011-12, 21.9% of India's population lived in below poverty line. That is declined by 15 percent point in the poverty in 7 years between 2004 and uh, 2004 and 2011-12. In absolute number, the number of poor people declined from 470 million in 2004-5 to 269 million in 2011-12. That is 130 million person were lifted out of poverty line. This was attributed to a higher average rate of economic growth, over 8% per annum achieved during this period, which was claimed by the government was due to the policy of liberalization and globalization. pursued. This proved to be a highly controversial issue as critics pointed out that the estimates of poverty for the year 2011 was very low because of low poor line, a daily expenditure of 20, rupees 27.2 2 rupees per capita for rural areas and 33.3 rupees per urban areas. I think this is sufficient for this video. In the next part of this video, we will discuss the same topic. So keep watching the next video.